G'day, ZiggyD here, and welcome back for part 30 of the Path of Exile Survival Guide, which is a nice round number actually. And looking at our character as well, level 60. It's an episode of nice round numbers here. Now in the last episode we went and did some ledge farming with Amy, pretty good fun, and we then went and did the Brutus kill. Now you can sort of farm Brutus for gear, but I think it's probably best just to progress straight to Merveil, and then if you want to farm anything in Merciless Act 1 and 2, it's Merveil. She's super fast and very effective to farm, especially in newer leagues, or if you're like doing a one-week race, or the league has just started up, or it's your first character. Merveil is a great way to start producing some currency, to start getting some pretty nice gear. She can drop a good selection of decent uniques, obviously not at some of the higher level stuff, because her level is, she doesn't drop level 60 stuff basically, so you can't farm for the Chaos Orb recipe or anything like that. We have to get to Act 3 to do that basically. But otherwise, that's going to be the plan for this episode. But first, I found a leather belt in the vendor, 38, and I'm kind of feeling like doing some gambling. As I said, our current belt is not great, it's not terrible. 81 life is a pretty nice roll, and fire resist is pretty low there. But we want to start improving our resists especially, as you can see. All of our resists are pretty low here, and getting a little bit higher resists and getting some higher life would be nice on there as well. So I'm going to be alching this leather belt. Wish me luck! Oh, that's a double life roll. Oh, the resist roll. Oh, the resist roll is terrible. What is with that? Well, that's unfortunate. So probably not really worth wearing there. It had potential. It had decent life rolls. Oh well. Oh well. So I'll just sell that. Now the other plan was, I believe, we wanted to try and get a chain support gem. So let's switch on over to PoE.xyz and see if we can get one nice and quickly. I suspect, because it's a pretty easy support gem to do, we could probably easily get one from Trade Chat, but I'll use the site to try and find out an appropriate price. Okay, here we go. So we're going to search chain. Now, I'm pretty sure if we just search chain by itself, we're going to get chain belts. So we probably want to scroll down here and add in gem as well. And we're going to search, as always, online only and buyout and see what we get here. Alright, looks like we've got, whoa, lots of chain gems. Now, chain generally in the new league or in hardcore used to cost quite a bit, between 6 and 10 chaos. But bow builds are a little bit less popular now with the rise of a lot of other builds and summoners and stuff becoming more popular recently. So less people using chain, but also when leagues have been in effect for a while, and in softcore leagues, chain gems tend to accrue, and there ends up being a lot of them. And it looks like they're actually super cheap. Wow, there's actually a lot of 1 chaos one here. I thought I'd have to pay a few chaos, but 1 chaos is looking pretty easy. Let's see, let's do some verification action here. Well, I'm just going to go and try and get one of these. Now, quality isn't important for us. There is like a quality one here that you can see. It's increased projectile speed, which is really not a big deal for bow builds, and certainly not worth 26 chaos, which is like our exalt that we found. So I'll try and get one of these 1 chaos orb chain gems. Nice and cheap. I'm pretty surprised by that. There we go. There's the trade. Thank you very much. Awesome stuff. So we now have our chain gem. We do have a decision to make. I'll just exit this party here and put myself back on D&D there. So the decision is, what gem do we substitute out for chain? We do have to make a bit of a sacrifice. The end result is going to be that we have a lot more potential damage in larger packs. So it's going to make this skill much more AoE oriented. Currently, it's kind of okay against it's pretty good against small packs, like 2-3 mobs, and it's still okay-ish against single target, but it has limited potential against larger packs. Chain is going to make it much more effective by allowing us to strike more times, and as long as each of those more strikes are happening, so we're fighting a larger group, each one of our 3 projectiles hits and then chains 2 times, the overall damage is going to be increased by quite a bit, especially when you consider things like shock stacks. There's more chances to shock stack, and the fact that shock stacks can multiply up to 3 times, you can have an increased amount of damage by 90% from shock stacks, makes chain very effective with lightning arrow. So, however, we do have to make a decision of what we're going to sacrifice. Now, if I was using a pure physical damage bow, so let's say 100% increased physical damage and a flat physical damage mod there as well, I would probably sacrifice faster attacks. Now, faster attacks, sacrificing faster attacks makes skills feel a little bit less responsive, and it does lower your DPS by quite a bit. Like, just looking now, 660 down to 490. Pretty big loss in DPS there, and we're going to have to ignore our tooltip DPS once we add in chain, because it just goes whack after that. But since we're using a bow that also has an elemental damage mod, I'm more inclined to think that physical projectile attack damage is less effective now. This is a new support gem in the game, reasonably new, added in only a week or so ago. And it's sort of one that we're kind of having to think a little bit more about. Now, if I was using a pure physical bow, this would be giving us more effectiveness overall. Like, we might have an extra 100 physical DPS. This would be giving us 40% more of that, so an extra 40 physical DPS. Something like that. That's just random numbers. But this would be more effective. But however, since I have that lightning damage, I'm thinking that faster attacks is going to be much better for us. The more times you hit with flat elemental damage mods, the more damage you're going to do. But most of all, the physical projectile attack damage is going to be less effective overall. So I'm going to trade that out, and we can possibly even sort of just see how this goes here. So our DPS chained with faster attacks is 304. If I switch this out here, back in here, we've got 243. So as I suspected, faster attacks is much more efficient node for us, support for us, and it's going to make the skill a bit easier to use as well. And you know, you can get some more shock stacks and things like that out. But however, if I was using a high fizz damage bow, even if the difference was pretty close in DPS, if it was like much closer, I would lean more towards the physical damage one, because the more damage you do per each hit, the longer the shock stacks you do are gonna happen. And with chain, you know, shocks, the amount of damage you're doing per hit as lightning damage is relatively low, so shock stacks are usually quite small in duration. So being able to increase that by using physical projectile attack damage would be pretty viable. But for now, as I said, we're going to go with the faster attack setup, and I'll just level my physical projectile attack damage in my offhand there, so it's constantly upgrading, and I don't need faster projectiles anymore. That was kind of just a random one. So now we have a much more effective AoE sort of ability in Lightning Arrow. Now, although the tooltip DPS looks a little bit low, you'll kind of see how this works. That means we do need to be especially, you know, on the ball about using Frenzy as our single target attack, because Chain Lightning Arrow is just not going to do anything now. It's just not going to cut it. Now, the other thing I wanted to do was, if I can get 2 red and 2 green on this, nope, not going to happen. Won't worry about that then. I'm still trying to replace my boots, but it's not going to happen just yet. So I'm going to just jump into Ledge for a sec, just to test out how the chain's going. I'm pretty confident in it though. And as we start to level the chain support gem as well, it's going to increase in damage. You can never sort of fully counteract the 50% less damage multiplier, but you can get a bit of added damage onto that, which is nice. Let's go this way. So we'll go find some sort of large pack. I'll try and round them up. And the other thing we have to do is switch out projectile weakness. So we'll test this now, and here we go. Here's a small pack. We'll just go with those guys. Destroyed. So using against single target. Looks like we're still doing too much damage for Ledge. I might have to jump to a different zone to get a more accurate test. But that was what I was gonna say. We have to switch out projectile damage. I kind of forgot about that. Let's go back to town briefly. Now I do have an elemental weakness ready? I do have an elemental weakness ready. Now, if you don't have one of these, you want to make sure you can purchase one now. Luckily, we just got this blue socket, so it's going to be nice and easy. Otherwise, we'd want to change our, change our colors a bit. Because projectile weakness, although it's a fantastic curse for any sort of bow build, and as long as you're not using chain, it works really nicely because it adds that pierce effect. However, when you're using chain, it actually kind of counters the effectiveness of chain a bit. 54% chance to pierce means that when that happens, when you're piercing, you can't chain. So you're still taking the damage hit from chain, the 50% less damage, but when you pierce, the chain's not going to actually proc. So although you can kind of use it a bit, I don't recommend it. Elemental weakness, even at a lower level, is going to be better for us. Now, we aren't, this multiplied out all of our projectile damage before, and we were doing physical damage. However, since we're using Lightning Arrow, which is a high elemental conversion, 50% of physical damage converted to elemental damage, and we're using like weapon elemental damage and an elemental bow, it's going to work out pretty well for us. So you could stick with projectile weakness and just sort of test these things out. These are the things you can always just test out yourself and see how they go. Now I'll just leave projectile weakness there for now, but just switch to elemental weakness here. It's going to get more effective as we level it as well. So here's I think I was in the wrong. I think I was in normal. Was I just farming legend normal? What an idiot. Okay, we might actually be able to get a reasonable test in here. Amy's kind of scoffing at me. There we go. Okay, cool. So you can see when all of those hit, they kind of bounce around. It's very fast, but look at that. Actually able to hit all of those mobs without needing to pierce or anything like that. So, but as you can see, shooting this guy by himself, not much is happening. But if they're all clustered together, they're all in range of the chaining projectiles and from the splash from lightning arrow as well. It's going to get very effective. Now, unfortunately, our curse AoE is very small at the moment because we only it's a level 1 curse, but once that levels up, that'll start to become more and more effective. Jane's also kind of fun. It's a satisfying sort of support gem to play with. I love how just like that bounces around. That kind of rhythm, that rhythmic sound of it bouncing around like that is awesome. But yeah, it's going to make it much more easier for us to have effective AoE damage now. I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, though, another thing worth mentioning is that it does make the mana cost much more expensive. Chain has a big 200% mana multiplier, one of the highest mana multipliers in the game. So, although, you know, we're still leeching, we're still doing all that stuff, it's going to be a little bit harder to counteract that now. I'm actually curious. Let's see. Yeah, we're still about even shooting a pack of 3 there. Shooting larger packs is going to give us more leech overall. And I think we'll still be okay. We'll still be able to support this. It's just not going to heal us so much. So if we can get some leech on gear at some point, or maybe get some... we could potentially still use life gain on hit. It's going to be super effective now with chain. So if we're doing harder content, we can switch out weapon elemental damage with life gain on hit. But I'll try and avoid that as much as possible. Okay, so let's start our progression then. That's that sorted out. That's our character kind of ready to go. Now we can head straight to Merveil now. We can sort of beeline right there. But we can actually go back now and do some of these side quests that I mentioned to leave earlier. Now you can just leave these until you finish the act, and sometimes I just like go straight through to Act 2, farm Act 2 for a bit, and then come back and do these side quests because you know they're super safe then. Now we don't need to do the passive respec side quest, but we do want to do the submerged passage one, the flooded depths, which is kill the granddaddy crab. Because that will give us an extra passive point. So I will go do that, and when I get there I'll show you guys kind of like what you need to be aware of in there. Alright, so here's the flooded depths. Now you'll notice that this zone here, submerged passage, level 53, you know, pretty normal, 52, 53, 53, 54, normal sort of progression. However, this zone, 58, that's such a massive jump at this point in the game. We're only level 60 now, so although you can't really use your level to judge now, but if you're not, you know, if you're kind of having problems in the other zones, then maybe you want to consider leaving this for a while until you're a bit better geared and, you know, feeling a little bit more confident. But we'll move through here slowly. Just kind of need to, you know, play it as safe as possible. Just kind of use these guys, use your decoy totems, all that sort of jazz to distract them out. But oh man, loving that chain lightning arrow damage, so good. Now just be aware that a lot of these guys in here deal cold damage. That's kind of the theme of this zone. So if your cold resists is pretty low, and mine's 23% actually, so I'm going to have to watch out for that. Then you want to be pretty careful. So you'll see all these guys here do cold damage on hit, so you want to watch out for that there. Oh, there's a 6-socket item, very nice. Don't forget to pick up and sell and vendor 6-socket items. I did have someone ask me about it very recently. There's 2! What? I just got another one like a second after it. 7 these vendor for 7 jeweler's orbs, and if you can actually find these in the vendors sometimes as well. But always keep an eye out for those. Vendoring for 7 jeweler's orbs is pretty much always worth it. The only time where you wouldn't vendor one of these is if it's a very good base item otherwise, or if it's a very, very high level item that people like to craft. But for the most part, you're just going to be vendoring these. 7 jeweler's orbs is very good. It's actually a pretty significant amount of currency. One of the best sort of vendor things you can do to make currency. Probably apart from the Chaos Orb recipe, but this is a lot easier than the Chaos Orb recipe. You just vendor 1 item instead of a full set of rares. Alright, here's the Granddaddy Crab, the Deep Dweller. As you can see, extra cold damage, so you want to watch out for that. Now, I'll eat a hit just to sort of see how bad that is. Oh, yeah, that hits pretty hard. Now, the thing to know about extra cold damage, you know, if you get hit very hard by cold damage, and it happens to be a crit, you get frozen, and it's a very high amount of damage, like this guy, we're in a high-level zone, and he's dealing extra cold damage. You're going to get frozen for a very long time if you do get frozen, so you want to be pretty careful of that, and as a result, I'm going to be just sort of using my decoy totem there. He can tank a few hits, he's pretty tanky at this point. As decoy totem level up, they get very, very tanky. Especially if you start adding on like a support gem like totem elemental resistance. It's a really nice one to add on to that as well to give them a nice bit of extra tankiness against spellcasters. As you can see though, our single target damage is still pretty nice, able to chew through this guy pretty quickly. And second form obviously is ranged, extra cold damage, same deal there, so just going to use my totem on the opposite side so he's not shooting me. Because he actually shoots a few projectiles, so you want to try and keep the totem on the opposite side if possible. And here we go, there's the kill. And what did I get? Have I leveled 2 random faster attacks? We'll be leveling chain pretty soon as well. Oh, almost accidentally logged out for some reason. But we'll head back to town, and we'll get our passive point reward for this. Now the other one is Fairgraves for another passive point, but we probably won't do this one for a while. We can do this one right now, and you can go back and do the Mercy mission as well, which is to go kill Hailrake, and that one's not super significant, so I'm not going to bother with that quest. But if you do, just make sure your cold resist is adequate, and just be careful going through there, because again, it is a very high level jump. But if you can do the Granddaddy Crab one, you can probably do that as well. Now, I actually forgot this attack speed node, someone pointed out, and this node alone here is just worth it. So if you're a ranger, you just grab it. It's like so efficient. 8% in one attack in one node is insane. Like, you know, we've got Berserking, but that's behind 3% attack speed. 3% attack speed, much more common. And let's see where there's other attack speed. These are all 3 attack speed as well. There's a 6% one. This is the start for the Scion one. 8% is insanely good. So we'll definitely grab that. And there's our Jeweler's Orbs. So many Jeweler's Orbs. You end up, as long as you keep a good eye out for those and don't miss them, you'll end up with a good stash of Jeweler's Orbs, and they're very handy to have later on when you start to play around with sockets. Otherwise, you can always just trade them up for higher tiers of gear. So, I think I'll continue progression now, so we're going to go to the Prisoner's Gate. Now, we want to be pretty careful of our fire and lightning resistance in here. There's Goatmen and Flame Dogs as well. Our resists are 41, 48, somewhat low. If you're a little bit sort of unsure, try and get them a little bit higher than that. You can switch out some rings, but I don't think there's too much I can do. Like, this is fire and lightning, this is fire and lightning with all resists, so I can't really do any ring switching at all to improve this. So, we're just going to have to be a little bit careful. Alright, chain just leveled, so I'll take a sec to show that. As you can see, 2% increased damage. So anything linked to it, both physical and elemental damage increases, but this doesn't, increased doesn't fully counter less. Less is a multiplier, so that multiplies our damage by 0.5, which is a big hit, obviously. Increased damage, even if we get 50% increased damage, doesn't counteract that. That's increasing the already multiplied amount. So, say we deal 100 damage, multiplies down to 50 damage, 2% increase, then only increases that 50 damage. So you're not really going to be able to fully counteract that. So although it helps to level it up, don't kind of get a little bit confused by that. Now I have to say, this range is starting to feel so fun now. Once you get sort of like your Quicksilver Flies pumping and you're like moving around chain killing all these guys nice and quickly like this. Health's taking a bit of a beating at the moment though. Super fast to be able to sort of be a go fast ranger like this, especially if we get some more move speed on our boots pretty soon. It's going to feel even nicer. If we can get some 30 move speed boost, it's going to be very nice sort of kiting along, just chain killing enemies like this. Oh yeah. So there's our way through there. We do want to make sure we grab the waypoint in here. That's a weird spawn. It should be just pretty close to the entrance. Let's grab that orb of alteration there. Should be somewhere around here. There it is. Cool. So make sure you grab this because you will want to come back and do the Fairgraves Quest. Now I'm kind of tempted to do the Fairgraves Quest now, even though that's generally a terrible idea. It's a much higher level, and flicker striking mobs are super scary, super dangerous. However, if with clever use of decoy totem, just sort of slowly moving through it, it is possible to do it now. You just want to be very aware of how dangerous that zone is. These zones aren't going to kill you if you go into them knowing that they're super dangerous. But if you kind of just wander in there, used to sort of a certain level of difficulty through these zones, like, I'm able to handle everything in here pretty cruisily, and then kind of wander into one of those side quest zones without realizing how big a jump and difficulty it's going to be. That sort of thing will get you killed, so you do want to watch out for that. As a hardcore character, that's a pretty sad way to die in one of those side quest areas. Alright, so I decided to skip Fairgraves for now. Made my way into Cavern of Wrath as the first one. And there's the waypoint, so we'll go back now. We can get a quest reward, which is I'm pretty sure it's always a support gem. We'll double check. Nessa, you're the one we want. Here we go. So yeah, we get a choice of support gems. There's nothing too really necessary here, I don't think, for this build. Iron Grip, no, we've already got Iron Grip from the passive tree. Faster attacks, we've got plenty of those. We don't have any mana leeches. We're not using mana leeches in this build, but I might grab one later. Eventually at endgame we might decide to respec over to mana, and mana leech could be useful, though to be honest we'd probably use blood magic support gems anyway. So I don't know, I'll just grab that. It's just a gem I don't have. Pretty irrelevant one really, but nothing too good on these. Oh, that one had sort of potential, almost good. rapier. If the fizz was a bit higher and had another fizz roll, or if it had try Ellie with that attack speed roll, it'd be pretty nice. Otherwise, it's just not quite there, not quite sellable, I'd say. But go ahead and stash this stuff. Now, I'll do one straight up Merveil run myself, and then I might do some Merveil farming with Amy as well. So let's go put these away here, fast. Now, to do Merveil, we do want to make sure that our fire and cold resist... Well, to get to Merveil, we want to make sure our fire resist is adequate. 48% is probably going to get me through the exploding squid. It's going to let me tank the odd explosion if I'm careful. And with Chain Lightning Arrow, it's pretty easy to kill those squids, so I'm pretty confident with that. 23 cold resist, however, is abysmal. It is terrible. It is not gonna cut it. Not gonna cut it for Merveil. I could do the Merveil fight. It is possible to dodge her attacks, use decoy totems, all that jazz. But if you can just face tank her if you can cap out your cold resist. So let's see if there's something I can do here. If I maybe get this one here and can roll some extra resists on it, that might counteract the loss from these ones. These are pretty nice rings though. It's going to be pretty difficult. Is there anything else I could get? Maybe re-rolling this chest again, though I think we're a bit low on currency to roll it with at the moment. Yes, pretty low on currency. Maybe purchasing an upgrade might be the way to go. What could we potentially upgrade then using XYZ? Gloves are okay. They do have cold resist as well. We could potentially get a belt upgrade. One with cold resist or one with just some extra resist on it would be nice. We have enough currency sort of to do it. A few chaos looking to spend maybe. We could potentially get an upgrade for the quiver pretty easily. Actually, let's go for the quiver. This is an accuracy, crit strike chance, crit strike multiplier. Those 3 mods are wasted because we have resolute technique. So looking at this, it's only a fire damage max life quiver, which is pretty rubbish. So I'm going to try and buy a better quiver. So we'll switch on over to PoE XYZ. Okay, so we're going to type in nothing. We're going to make sure there's nothing in there. Then we're going to go for... quiver should be under... it'll be under Misk. There we go. So we'll chuck quiver under Misk. Now we'll see if there's anyone online with buyouts for now. And what we want to look for is life. So we're going to go for pseudo life or total max life. We want elemental resistances. We don't need chaos resist. And I'd be pretty happy with that, to be honest. Let's just see what we can get with those for now. I could potentially look for cold resist ones. There's a life cold resist one for 3 chaos with chaos resist as well. The mana gain on kill, that's actually not too bad. Is that still there? That's verified. Okay, that's not too bad. That's a very nice defensive quiver. No offensive stats though. This one here, 6 to 10 fizz, 15% increased elemental life, lightning resist. This is a very nice quiver. It doesn't have cold resist, which we need, unfortunately, but I think this is probably worth buying, though. For 1 chaos, I'm going to get this, unless there's something else that really sticks out to me. Let's check. We can sort by life. There's this one here. This is the one. Is this the one we just looked at? No, this is increased elemental cold damage. Increased elemental damage with weapons works really well with our build. A high life roll and 2 resists, not very high resist, but not a bad one. That's a pretty nice quiver as well. And there's this one here for 2 chaos with physical and fire, but that's not as good as these ones with the increased elemental. 22 elemental with fizz, fire and lightning. Here's a cold one with fire and cold. What would be best? There's quite a few choices here for us. Let's just go for this one here. Fire and lightning, a very high life roll, and elemental damage. We'll go for this one. It's one chaos, nice and easy. Alright, well it looks like that first one isn't online, so I'm going to have to try and find another one then. Increased elemental, fizz, max life, very low resists on this one. Is there any other ones? Increased elemental. Maybe we should refine our search a bit. Actually, that might be a good idea. There's quite a few here with quite a few ones that are not quite... It's kind of all over the place. So let's go for total increased elemental damage with weapons. That's what we want. So let's refine that down a little bit, and maybe I can even also increase our life. Let's go 75 life, and I won't type anything for the elemental resistances or the increased elemental damage with weapons. And let's see what we get now. We can sort by life. We have, this is the same guy we just spoke to, so that's still the best life one there. Increased elemental damage, fire, low resists on those, pretty low resists. This one's not too bad. 2 1 nice fire resist, a low lightning resist, high life roll, 2 chaos, isn't too bad. 1 exalt, no thank you. 0.75 chaos, that's an interesting amount. No, not too good there, not too good. Here's a cold resist one. I'll browse for a bit and see if I can find one that seems appropriate. Alright, this one here is not very good, but it has the stats we need. It's got a nice life roll, and it's got a ton of cold resist. So I might just get this now just to get us through Act 1, and we can look for an upgrade for that now. It's only 1 chaos, so that's pretty easy. So I'll see if this guy's online. Alright, there's the trade. Good stuff. Cool, that's going to sort out our cold resist for now. And thank you very much. So, we do have one issue though, however. This is a dex quiver, a light quiver that gives us dex. Now, we have a pretty high amount of dexterity on this character, but ranger bows require a lot, 212. Now, if we remove this, we can't use our bow, as you can see. So that is a bit of an issue. However, how far are we short? Actually, quite a bit. We kind of need like a 30 dex node. I didn't actually think about this before I bought it, but do we have... What's going to be the easiest way for us to get some additional dexterity? There's 130 dex node there. I think that's probably going to be the best one. What should we drop to get it? I could drop just like this life strength node for now. That's a pretty big one, pretty big node to drop, but I don't think there's any other little nodes I could drop, and I kind of just need it for now. There's the 12 life, although I think the 12 lives are a little bit bigger. I'll just go ahead and drop this node for now, and we'll grab that on the very next level. We're almost leveled up anyway, and we'll grab this extra dex there. So very high dex requirement bow, but that sorts out that. And there we go. This should be a bit of a DPS increase as well, 331. Yeah, there we go, because the increased elemental damage is a little bit higher there. So, that's not a very... it's actually not a bad, like, sort of leveling crit quiver, so we'll go chuck that in there. Alright, let's go continue on now. So I'll take the Cavern of Wrath and we'll check out... Oops, wrong act again. Trying to farm in Act 1 normal again. There we go, there's the Cavern of Wrath. Okay, so how are our resists looking now? We've got 64 cold resist, is much better. It's going to make the Merveil fight a lot easier. So I should be able to progress through here pretty easy. The first zone's pretty cruisy, just sort of, you know, watch out for mobs like this with increased physical damage. Otherwise, pretty easy. I'm thinking we might want to upgrade to a Granite Flask at some time soon. Jade Flasks, you know, are very, very effective, but Granite Flasks you can actually use twice. They consume less charges. They consume 30 of 60, whereas Jade Flask consumes 40 of 60, and I have actually had a Granite Flask drop since doing this one as well, so we might go craft one of those up soon. It's not a really concern at this point though, and we'll just continue progressing through this zone. This first zone, Cavern of Wrath, is pretty cruisy, but the next one has the fire exploding squids that we want to watch out for, so we'll have to be pretty careful in that one. Now remember that these little exploding squids also like to pop up out of the ground, so when you're heading through like little tunnels and stuff like this, try and just sort of like not run in too fast, especially if you don't have like a clear way to back up, because they will pop up around you, and if they pop up right on top of you and explode right on top of you, then that's pretty nasty. Eating like 3, 4 or 5 of those explosions might be enough to get the kill. So there we go, those ones popped up there. They weren't exploding ones, but you get the idea. Alright, so here's the Merveil fight. I'm just going to throw my decoy totem down. We'll get some single target damage out on her. Obviously, she's still going to freeze us and stuff. We'll try and get into melee, and I'll use my Jade Flask when she's meleeing me. But for the most part, I'll just keep putting my decoy totem up there. She's about to kill it, so I'll just respawn it. And as you can see from like the Ice Nova and the Cold Snaps, thanks to our Cold Resist, just taking like no damage from those. We'll probably take a fair bit of damage from her melee attacks still. They hit pretty hard. I'll put that back up. But she seems to be just cold snapping me over and over again, which is pretty fantastic, really. So I can just stand here in DPS. The reason I'm standing close, obviously, is the Ice Spear will crit if I stand further away, and I will get frozen. That will still do a fair bit of damage. So it's just easy to get in close. And I seem to have hit the magic spot right now, where she's using her ranged attacks and not using her melee attacks. But I'm also not in the crit radius for Ice Spear. So, man, just destroying her. Awesome. Nice. Well, that was a pretty good first Merveil kill there. Let's kill her in a second form, shouldn't be too hard as well. I can just use Chain Lightning Arrow here to kill off all these guys. There we go, nice and easy. And we can just do the same thing, keep spawning up a decoy totem on the other side there. So she uses the wave on that, because the wave will slow you down, it's kind of annoying. As long as we keep our decoy totem spawned up there. Every now and then you'll want to use your AoE to clear out the ads that spawn as well. Otherwise they're going to get in the way of your single target attack. And here's the kill. Nice and easy, I didn't have to move from this spot the whole time. Look at those rares! Whoa, you can really see that increased drop rate for the bosses here in Merciless. But, whew, not bad, not bad. So we'll collect up these guys. Let's just see what we got. None of these are probably going to be too good for us. Not too good there. That one had potential. The life roll is really low though, and we need the 5-link as well, so that's pretty unfortunate. We'll have to get a better 5-link soon, or roll better stats on this one, because that's not going to cut it for much longer. But any good there? No, not too good. None of these really look too good there. That's that's a reasonable increased fizz damage, lightning damage, cast speed. Nah, it doesn't really come together in the end. It had potential. But, alright, cool. So what we're going to do is run into the Act 3 Southern Forest here. And you can clear through to the town, obviously, if you want to just continue progressing. You really don't need to farm Merveil unless you want to try and get some good loot here. And I will do a few Merveil farming runs with Amy. Maybe we'll do like 4 or 5 or something. Okay, so the way we're going to do these runs to be a little bit more efficient is one of us is going to leave a teleport here at the exit from Cavern of Wrath to Cavern of Anger. So this is the exit of Zone 1. But rather than leaving it in Cavern of Wrath where it might reset if we take too long on the run, we can actually leave it in Cavern of Anger here the first time around and then refresh it around. Otherwise, you can just leave it in the zone below. Most of the time, the runs aren't going to take too long. Actually, maybe we'll do that. So what we'll do then is we'll just leave the portal here. And then we can refresh this instance after each time we run Merveil by just running to the Waypoint. So we'll jump in Cavern of Anger and do a Merveil run. Alright, first Mercat. That's a bit of a sad Merveil kill there for Ziggy. What is this? I got 1 chromatic orb from that run. Well, they can't all be winners. You win, Grafer. You win. I don't think this guy's too bad. I'll put mine up too, there we go. Yeah, this guy seems pretty cruisy. My cold resist is pretty high, and he mostly does cold damage. Maybe he'll give us some sweet loots though. We haven't had any unique drops yet. It'd be nice if he gave us one. And nothing. What? What is our RNG today? RNGs, please. Alrighty, final Merveil kill. RNG has not been on our side today. Let's see if this last kill can redeem it before we head on into Act 2. I'm keen to get progressing in Act 2. Oh, there we go. We did at least get a unique drop. And that was for Amy. That was Time-Worn Claw. What was that? I think that's... I can't remember what that one is like. Maybe give that an ID and link it to us and we'll check out what I got here. Yeah, it's a pretty bad helmet. Aldi. Time-Worn Claw. Fizz damage, 15% of physical attack damage is each to his life. Now, I'm pretty sure the 15 reduced enemy stun threshold as well, with this weapon specifically. I think that's mostly used as an offhand for the extra life leech. Like, obviously 15% life leech is ridiculous. You use it as an offhand and use a skill like double strike, but I don't think it's a very popular unique. But let's go kill some monkeys and get into Act 2. Unfortunately, no sweet drops from Merveil. But Amy, you did some Merveil farming as well the other day. Did you have any good drops overall? One good drop? What was that? I know you got a 5-link weapon. Was that it? So you got a 5-link. Oh, you got 1 unique. Oh yeah, you got some blood dance or something boots. That were pretty nice. And a 5-link item as well. It was pretty nice. Blood dance, not lap dance. But that's not too bad. It's definitely like a pretty decent one to farm, but it's more profitable obviously if you're a character that's able to stack some item rarity. You use like the item rarity support gem, stack some on your gear. It's a very easy run to do, so you're kind of free to like sacrifice all of your resist except for cold and maybe a bit of fire, and just farm that with heaps of item rarity and get a lot of drops that way. Get a good way. It's a good way to get a lot of uniques and things like that. And especially at the start of the league, start of the Nemesis, a lot of people were farming Merveil for a long time. There's even a lot of streamers that were farming Merveil for, you know, a good week or so before doing anything else, farming Lunaris runs and things like that. But it's pretty solid. And there we go, officially made it into Act 2, Merciless difficulty. in our Path of Exile Survival Guide playthrough. It's been a pretty good run so far, and things are going to get better and better still. And that's probably just if you're following this series along as it's been published, there might be a bit of a delay before the next episode over the Christmas break. But we'll be back in the new year with plenty more episodes. We'll get all the way into endgame maps, and then I might even start doing some endgame map guides as well. But anyway, that's it for now. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.